So it looks like the iPhone 12 is going to be getting a whole lot more interesting. So you guys probably already know this by now, but there is that rumor floating around the internet that does suggest the iPhone 12 is not going to be shipping with a power brick in the box. And it's Apple we're talking about, so it's not too weird. But again, it is kind of weird just due to the fact that if you look at every iPhone Apple has ever shipped to consumers, they do include a power brick in the box. So it would be the first time that Apple does not ship a power brick in the box if these rumors and leaks do turn out to be real. But again, it's Apple we're talking about, and Apple is known to do some strange things in the tech industry. Like for instance, they have removed the headphone jack before. They have removed traditional USB ports on their laptops. They got rid of the disk drive on their laptops as well. So it is actually a very interesting move from Apple if this is actually real. And it looks like we have some more rumors and speculations out there on what might be shipped with your iPhone 12. Now for a while now, a lot of people were unsure what does that mean when they weren't going to be including the charger in the box. Does that mean they'll just not include the power brick in the box to actually plug in your cable, or will they not include a cable in the box, or will they include a cable in the box? So the rumors and speculations are flying high with this one, but apparently we finally may have our answer here. It looks like apparently from this website alone, it looks like you will still be getting a cable in the box with your iPhone. You still won't be getting the power brick to actually charge your phone, but you will get a power cable in the box to actually charge your phone. But we have some very interesting news about this cable that's going to be shipped with your iPhone 12. It's not just going to be any old standard cable that's going to be shipped with your phone. Basically what's going to happen is they are going to be upgrading these cables to braided cables, so it won't be the standard cables that you get in the box. They will be slightly better quality. Like I said again, they are going to be braided cables, and that's actually very interesting. I think this could be real, and I can see why Apple would actually want to make these cables braided, because maybe by making these cables braided and then not including the charger in the box, they'll be like, well, no one's really going to notice the power brick not being included with our phones, because now we upgraded the cables to braided cables. So everyone's going to be like, we'll give Apple some slack because they did upgrade our cable, even though they didn't give us a power brick in the box. And also for the longest time, we're still kind of wondering what type of port is going to be on the upcoming iPhone 12. But it looks like we may finally have our answer. Unfortunately, it looks like Apple is still going to be using the old Lightning port from many moons ago. And that's kind of unfortunate, because I know a lot of people in the industry wanted that push to make everything USB Type-C, but it looks like the iPhone 12 is not going to be it, unfortunately. Maybe next year they'll go to USB Type-C, but then I also heard rumors in the next iteration of the iPhone after the iPhone 12, most likely they may just cut the port altogether and not even give us a charging port, so we'll have to do something like wireless charging. So that is very interesting. But to make things even more interesting, it's not just a braided cable with a Lightning port on it. It's going to be Lightning to USB Type-C, and that has me feeling a whole bunch of different ways about this situation, just because a lot of people actually don't have a normal USB charger that actually charges via USB Type-C. So if you have an old 5-watt power brick laying around from an old iPhone, most likely it's not going to be able to work with this cable. So it's a kind of a weird situation. You open up your iPhone 12, you get this braided cable in the box, but the braided cable only has USB Type-C on the end. So what are you actually going to do? You'll be pretty much forced to either use one from an iPad Pro, if you have one of those newer iPad Pros laying around, the 2020 version, or the 2018 version of that one, because that one does ship with a USB Type-C power brick in the box. So this is just weird. They want to supply this cable, but then they don't want you to have a power supply in the box. They're giving you a really weird cable in the box that only supports USB Type-C at the end, so most likely you'll have to buy a brand new charger. I guess what you really could do is you could still use an old Lightning cable and use your own power supply if you wanted to do that. So overall, this really doesn't help the situation if you actually think about it, just due to the fact that this has a USB Type-C at the end instead of a traditional USB-A port at the end, which so many chargers have a traditional USB-A at the end of the actual charging bricks. Overall, I don't understand Apple's theory here. They want to get rid of the power brick, but then they want to bring a cable that is proprietary with a USB Type-C cable at the end. Overall, it just doesn't make us, this whole situation doesn't make sense to me. Honestly, what I think they should do is just bundle this and bundle still a charger in the box, just because they're not doing themselves any favor by having that proprietary USB-C at the end of the lightning cable. They might as well just put the power brick in the box so people aren't forced to go out and buy a USB Type-C one or use their old ones. Overall, this situation is very interesting. Now let's even move on to more iPhone 12 rumors and speculations, because there are more rumors and speculations about the upcoming iPhone 12, and it looks like, according to this rumor and speculation of the upcoming iPhone 12 line, it does look like we do have a bit of bad news here. And the bit of bad news that we actually have for the iPhone 12 line, it looks like that Apple is actually going to be giving these phones kind of a downgrade compared to what we had on any of the previous iPhone 11s. So basically what they're going to be doing for the iPhone 11, apparently, I say apparently because these are only rumors and speculations at this very moment, but apparently what Apple is going to be doing is they are going to be making the batteries of these phones much more not as strong or not as high capacity as the iPhone 11 line. And honestly, that's kind of weird, taking in consideration what they're doing with the power supply situation, what comes in the box and everything like that. This phone is starting to really feel like a pretty kind of big downgrade compared to what we had with the iPhone 11, not just with the phone, but with what shipped in the box. This whole situation is starting to become kind of a bad situation, if you ask me personally. But yes, indeed, it does look like they are going to be actually decreasing the milliamps when it actually comes to the battery. And that's something that a lot of people in the tech industry actually praise the iPhone 11s for, because the iPhone 11s were some of the first phones from Apple to actually have pretty amazing battery. To be honest, it was definitely an upgrade over the I think the XS phones from the previous year. So to see Apple go from okay battery to some amazing battery and then back to some mediocre battery, it's kind of unfortunate here, because a lot of people love that feature about the iPhone 11, and it does suck too, taking in consideration Apple was a company that never had the best battery in the industry. Their batteries were okay, but nothing mind-blowing, especially if you look at some other phones on the market with bigger batteries, better optimization. What I'm wondering is how Apple is really going to handle their iPhone 12 situation with a smaller battery. Does that mean iOS is going to be more optimized for this battery? I think for the average consumer, or for most people out there, even tech enthusiasts like myself, I think most people out there probably really won't notice the battery difference from day-to-day usage, because if we look at the numbers here, the numbers aren't that bad, and they're not like they're going down like 1,000 milliamps, so it's not that bad. It looks like the numbers are basically going to go like this. The iPhone 12 is going to be 2,227. The iPhone 12 Max is going to have a 2,775 milliamp battery. The iPhone 12 Pro is going to have also the same battery as the iPhone 12 Max. And then the iPhone 12 Pro Max is actually going to have a 3,600 milliamp battery, basically 3,687 milliamps for the actual milliamps of that battery. And then if you compare that to what we have on the iPhone 11, it is actually going to be a downgrade. The best phone from Apple right now is the Apple iPhone 12 Pro, Apple iPhone 11 Pro Max, and the 11 Pro Max actually has close to 4,000 milliamps. It's specifically 3,969 milliamps, and if you compare that to the 3,687 milliamp battery that's only going to be shipping apparently with the iPhone 12 Pro Max, you can see that is a pretty little downgrade, honestly, and any downgrade is still a downgrade at all. And since these numbers are coming out, it's actually not great news. Again, I think for most people out there in the industry, whether you're tech enthusiast or not a tech enthusiast, you're just an average consumer, I don't think most people are really going to matter all that much. And of course, iPhone is iPhone. They still have a premium price tag on it, so of course it's not that big a deal. But then again, it is kind of a big deal, because we honestly still don't know if those rumors are true about the iPhone having a much more higher refresh rate. If the iPhone 12 has a higher refresh rate, specifically on the 12 Pro Max edition of this phone, and it has something like 120 hertz display, 3,687 milliamps is not that big at all. You take a look at something like the Samsung Galaxy S20, I think, Ultra or whatever it's called, and that one does have a higher refresh rate screen, and that higher refresh rate screen does take a toll on the battery. So I would have hoped that if it does come with a 120 hertz display. They would have put something like a 4,000 milliamp battery in there, or maybe like a 4,100 milliamp battery in there, because you take in consideration it's going to have an OLED display, of course, plus 120 hertz, if that's true. And apparently they're supposed to have some type of 5G variant of this phone. And if they have some type of 5G variant of this phone, that does mean that battery is significantly going to be impacted on this phone by a lot. And honestly, this is just not great, taking in consideration the downgrade in battery. So we'll have to wait and see if the new iOS 14, how it plays with the battery. We'll have to see just a whole bunch of different numbers. Of course, it'll vary between your use case and things like that. But it's actually funny now, if this is actually true about the battery being smaller, that does mean when they get on stage at the September event for Apple in their keynote, they'll have to be like, they can't claim, whoa, this phone gets 1 more hour of battery than our previous one, because it clearly won't get 1 more hour of battery if the battery is slightly smaller. Of course, they can't claim that unless there is some type of optimization, or unless these rumors are false. But it's not looking good for the iPhone 12 at the very moment. From all the packaging issues it looks like it may be having, to the battery being slightly smaller, this is just not looking good for the iPhone 12, to be honest. The next story I actually have for you is actually about Xbox Games Pass, because it looks like Xbox Games Pass is actually going to be getting an upgrade, more specifically for Xbox Games Pass Ultimate. It looks like if you do subscribe to the Xbox Games Ultimate Pass, I think the one that comes with Xbox Games Pass, it does comes with Xbox Live Gold in the actual deal. They are going to be including xCloud, which is coming in September, and this is actually a very interesting move from Microsoft, from the Xbox brand, because they really want you to pay for that Ultimate, that Xbox Games Pass Ultimate, because it would make sense, because you are getting Xbox Live Gold, you are getting Xbox Games Pass, and then you are getting xCloud from Microsoft. And if you don't know anything about xCloud, it is slightly different than Games Pass. Games Pass is where you can pretty much play unlimited games from the comfort of your own home, from a wide variety of games that they have on Games Pass. But the deal is, with Games Pass is not just your standard streaming service like NVIDIA GeForce Now or Google Stadia and things like that. It's actually one where you download your games natively to your own hardware, and then you play them like that, and that's pretty much how you play your games. But xCloud is specifically going to be a platform where you specifically have to stream games through the power of the internet, just like Google Stadia or NVIDIA GeForce Now. And I can see why Microsoft is doing this. Like I said again, they really want you to pay for the most premium service, the most expensive service for Games Pass Ultimate, of course. And Games Pass Ultimate does cost $14.99, so it is a very expensive, it is a pretty expensive service at that. But if you combine Games Pass plus xCloud plus Xbox Live Gold, which for a lot of people you do need Xbox Live Gold in the mix. You can't really live without the Gold service, just due to the fact that a lot of these games you probably want to play online, to be honest. So that's a nice little touch that they do include that, of course. I do know for a factor, moving on into the near future, not just with gaming, but with music or with TV shows and movies, one of the biggest things that's being pushed is services of any kind. And services are actually a little bit more better for the company, just because they get that reoccurring payment from you each and every month. And if they have like 10 million subscribers, 12 million subscribers, 50 million subscribers, whatever the case may be, of course, it includes more money, because you are paying each and every month. And for a lot of people out there, they do, unfortunately, let's say, forget about their payments that they are paying to all these big corporations and to all these services that they're paying for. They pay for them whether they use them or not. So in the long run, it's not just one payment for like paying for one game for $60 and then maybe never buying a game again, or maybe buying a used game from the used market, of course. That does mean these companies do get more money. One thing to take note about this xCloud services, it looks like it is going to be included with Xbox Games Pass Ultimate. I don't know if they're going to have another tier when xCloud comes out, but it does look like they are taking a different approach to xCloud compared to the competition. If you look at the competition like NVIDIA GeForce Now and things like Google Stadia, those both are pretty much free. They they both pretty much have a free tier of both of those, and the requirement is you just have to buy your own games and then you play them on their services. Like NVIDIA GeForce Now does have a free subscription where you buy the games and then you can play them on NVIDIA GeForce. I think even the premium version of NVIDIA GeForce Now does actually require you to buy games outright compared to just streaming them onto the internet or pretty much just renting the games. I think actually it may make more sense actually to buy the game rent the game on these streaming services, just due to the fact that a lot of these ones, like NVIDIA GeForce Now or something like, for instance, Google Stadia, those are nice services, but just due to the fact that you have to, for the most part, really pay for their premium subscription service plus buying the games outright, it can get a little bit more expensive. So I really like the approach that Microsoft is taking with xCloud. I think, honestly, if you look at the price of Xbox Games Pass Ultimate, I think Xbox Games Pass Ultimate is kind of a steep for $14.99, but considering you do get xCloud and you do get Games Pass Ultimate, which are going to have a lot of games at your disposal, it is 100% going to be more cheaper than if you were to buy games at $60 a piece. And then the nice thing I always love about whether you subscribe to a streaming service like Google Stadia or you have something like Xbox Games Pass, I always love the fact that you would be playing games that you wouldn't probably normally buy anyway. Maybe there's games out there that's not your cup of tea, but you're willing to try them because you get a subscription anyway. Or maybe there's games that are flat out bad games, but you just want to try these bad games out because, let's say, you would never buy those games anyway because they're not worth your hard-earned money. And I actually do understand that, so that's why these services do exist. And most likely, if you are a hardcore gamer or you are a pretty average gamer that plays a lot of games, $14.99 a month will make your money up instantly if you were to beat a couple games a month. Or maybe, for instance, you just like trying different games out. Of course, you couldn't really do that in real life, so $14.99 is not actually a bad thing from them, so that's actually very interesting. It looks like the regular, of course, Games Pass is only $9.99 a month, so it is going to be a little bit more expensive. You are going to have to spend roughly about $5 more for Games Pass Ultimate, but honestly, Games Pass Ultimate pays for itself, and now that xCloud is going to be included with Games Pass Ultimate confirmed already, you might as well just take the plunge and actually go to Games Pass Ultimate. You're only saving yourself $5, and $5 isn't that much because, like I said before, most likely you need Xbox Live Gold. You'll probably want to check out their streaming service. That's really not a bad deal. If it was $20, then maybe I'd be like, I don't know about $20. $20 is kind of expensive just to play games, even if you gave me gold, even if you gave me that xCloud service that is kind of expensive. So I think Microsoft is actually doing the right move to try to force people to kind of want to upgrade from the base Xbox Games Pass to Xbox Games Pass Ultimate for $14.99 a month. So very interesting move from Microsoft. What I'm really curious to see, how many more people are going to jump on Xbox Games Pass Ultimate compared to the regular version, which is only $99 a month. But yeah, just some very interesting stuff. And I think that's going to wrap up today's episode. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne from My Tech News, signing out.